Well, hello. We'd like to welcome everyone to Communicating with Purpose, week 3 of our Empowered Living and Personal Mastery series. Today, we're learning communication skills that help you show up confidently in life, at work, and in every single relationship. Presented to you today by Life Support Community Services, hosted by Angelina Braxton, co founder. And you can reach us at help at lifesupportcommunity.org or feel free to check out our website at lifesupportcommunity.org. All right, let's get it started. So, today's goal is to highlight practical communication strategies that you can use immediately at work, home, and everyday situations. Strong communication helps to build trust, it can reduce conflict, and helps you navigate work, family, and community with confidence. Communication is actually one of the most important skills in life, and it's a requirement for sustainable reentry. Communication happens in three ways: verbal, the what you say, nonverbal communication. So, nonverbal communication clues can be found in gestures, facial expressions, body language, eye contact, and could also include the tone of your voice. Written communication is the third communication type, and obviously, written refers to words on paper, screens, emails, and text, using devices and technology, basically. Ask yourself, what is my purpose? Who cares and why? And what do I want to achieve? So, before you start your um, communication process, those three questions are standard and are very helpful. It'll help you really determine, what am I seeking? Is this interaction necessary? Maybe I should send an email. Is this a type of communication that should be forwarded through a text? Or should this be face to face communication? But asking yourself those three questions might help you be able to decide exactly what you want to know, exactly what your avenue of communication should be. So once you know your actual purpose, your end goal, the audience, and the communication will become more clear, creating a space for you to develop a good, solid, intentional message using the appropriate channels to communicate more effectively. So, these are just practical strategies that are functional in professional and personal interactions alike. It is important to note that some circumstances will dictate the communication type, your why and your what. So let's look at one of those circumstances in particular. So, how to communicate with purpose without planning, the spontaneous communication. The focus here, you see an officer and a gentleman standing in communication. We have no idea what they're talking about, but what we do notice is the body language. You notice a lot of head nodding, and you notice a respectable distance between the two, which makes you assume it's not personal communication, and it's not hostile. It looks like it is measured and intentional communication. So the focus is to stay on purpose. And in today's climate, especially, communicating on purpose and with purpose means speaking with intention instead of reacting, choosing clarity over reacting, choosing your words based on what you want to accomplish, not on how you feel in the moment. Purposeful communication will help you stay grounded in clarity and intent. So let's move on to clarifying your intent. Clarity adds transparency and helps to eliminate misunderstandings. Remember to clarify your intent. Be direct and specific. Use evidence, data, and experience to support the message you're delivering. It is not about being aggressive, but it is about asserting yourself with respect and intention. Let's talk about another communication technique that often gets overlooked. It's the art of active listening. Active listening simply means giving your full attention, making eye contact when appropriate, and showing the other person you care what they have to say. In fact, active listening is a great response to passive, aggressive and passive communication. In fact, it's a great response to all three: aggressive, passive, and assertive communication. Now, let's define assertive, aggressive, and passive communication. Assertive communication is intentional, confident, and respectful. It's the middle ground between passive and aggressive. Passive communication is often silence, submission, or withdrawal from the conversation totally. Aggressive communication typically is an angry or reactive response. Successful group collaboration often requires assertive communication to be effective. In general, there may be occasions when it is necessary to make an assertive statement. For example, here's a standard response appropriate in most situations: I hear what you're saying. Here's what I need. So, I hear what you're saying. Pause. Here's what I need. So, both parties are giving equal respect. In this illustration that we're watching now, you see a group of people attempting to dominate a conversation. It's apparent that one of the individuals, the young lady, is being spoken. She has a point. She has the page. She's pointing to facts or information. We don't know facts, but she's pointing to information on a document. But you see that two people are standing over her, and she's fighting for space in that conversation. And this state is a perfect place for her to use an assertive statement. I hear what you're saying, and here's what I need. All right. Now, assertive statements are great, but please note, in some cases, communication strategies like clarifying the intent, active listening, and assertive statements will not be effective. And conflict happens. What I recommend is remind yourself that conflict is normal. What matters is how you respond. So, conflict usually occurs when you have people that are passionate about their perspective. And we love that passion, regarding to your perspective. But the point is, you have to remind yourself conflict is normal. Let's see, how do I manage this conflict? You're always going to be focusing on de escalation. Lower your voice, slow your breathing, and use neutral language. Smile, stay respectful, and stay on purpose. And if that doesn't help, because we understand in some settings the best solution is pausing the conversation until everyone is open to communication. In those instances, we recommend the stop strategy. STOP, stop. It's a great reminder to pause communications until cooler heads prevail. Ideally, when conflict arises, stop, take a breath, observe, and proceed calmly, if possible. In real life, some emotions have escalated beyond logic and require individuals to exit not only the conversation, but the environment for the de escalation to occur. Honor those emotions. If something is telling you, I should stop this conversation, I need to leave this environment, I am not able to manage this, listen to your inner thoughts. Escape. Sometimes you have to escape to de escalate. When attempts to de escalate continue to fail, you have to be the bigger person. No warnings, no ultimatums, no threats or promises. Just exit, walk away. Small shifts in communication style can, well, maybe let me just say this again, small shifts in communication style and delivery make a big impact on relationships. So, if you're stuck in that state with the inability to de escalate a situation, but you need to return to that situation, whether it's in person, via email, text, or any other form of communication, maybe you can, and you have no one else to, you don't have a neutral party, you might be able to utilize your tools. You could use AI prompting if you choose. You could ask something. So if you're having an issue at work and you and your coworker are unable to come to an agreement or even a respectful neutral zone, you might write, help me write a professional message about how I feel in this situation. Or help me write a professional message about what I was trying to say. And you can be as vivid and graphic as you want. That's between you and your technology. It will transform your message, it'll give you a different perspective. And that's a perspective that's based off of your thoughts. So it's not an outside perspective per se, but it's a helpful inside perspective, shall you choose to use it. Um, you could also ask, help me practice a difficult conversation about whatever you're having an issue with. For example, help me practice a difficult conversation about laying off this employee, or help me practice a difficult conversation about leaving this employer after this many years to go to a competitor. Whatever it is, help me practice a difficult conversation about leaving this relationship, about whatever. But I find it helpful and I really recommend those are ways to work out your feelings on paper and preserve those relationships in real life. You could also ask, rewrite the following message to sound calm and respectful. Hey, you got on my nerve and I am so upset about it. Or whatever your issue are, but I found it helpful. And again, I recommend you research it, use it, to your preference. Um, I want to always add, proofread any document that you run through AI with a prompt, because it's artificial technology, but at the hand of a human. So, um, in closing, communicating with a purpose is a skill anyone can learn and develop. With practice, clarity, and confidence, you can navigate any situation. Just remember, this is week 3. You are growing stronger every week, and we are here to support you. So we thank you for your time with Life Support Community Services. And if you need us, feel free to reach out to lifesupportcommunityservices.org. Thanks again.